Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video and I bring yous another signing which I imagine will make a lot of people happy, especially in a summer that saw us clearly prioritise upgrading that back door and bringing in some defensive reinforcements because for far too long the defending has been shambolic at this football club. And I know this isn't the point of this video and I'm sounding a wee bit like Augustus Galoot right now, but I just want more in that department. But we take a brief little detour and turn our attention to another part of the park that's been embarrassingly left to rot for far too long, and that is the winged position. So if you're one of those guys who's been screaming down in the comment section below, we need wingers, well ladies and gentlemen, you might just like today's video. But before we go any further on, it's time to chuck the old arms out, open up our warm embrace and welcome Djeidi Gassama, who, if he is half as good as he's half of his last name for this football club, he'll be pretty damn welcome right here every single week. Yes, somehow I found a way to shout at Gaza in that. You're welcome. But spoiler alert for the rest of the video, that's about as close as it comes to Gaza just having that slight little tint to the old last name. But he has got a hell of a lot of qualities in his game, and that's what we're here to talk about right frickin' now. So strap yourselves in and join me as we go on another deep dive of welcoming our latest player, but also finding out what we've just brought in to the football club. Meaning we start with the player profile, we get to the numbers and stats, and we talk about the competition for places, which I imagine not going to take as long. Something that might take a wee while, however, especially when it's this guy going ahead and talking about, is of course none other than the player profile. So let's go ahead and dive into it then, shall we? And starting off with what you need to know, Gassama is a 21-year-old French winger who is known for his pace, his directness and his ability to beat a man in terms of the dribbling. 1v1, you're done style player. You give him some space, he's going to attack it, he's going to get behind and he's going to try to ask some questions. But I know what you're saying right away. We play against a low block, CJ. What space are you talking about? Well, he is very quick with his feet as well. He can shift it. Now he is standing about 5'10" and he is right footed, so when he does play on the left hand side, you sort of see where I'm going for this here. He can go out wide, he can get chalk in the boots, but it's cutting inside, it's trying to have a pop, or more knowing him and this type of player he is, it's just driving at defenders, winning free kicks, winning fouls, and then trying to cause some havoc by creating some space that pulls a player over here, and then he passes it, and then it's a pass, and then you've got the chances and goals. He is another bum off seat style player. He is that type of winger that gets out wide and tries to make things happen. Maybe the nearest comparison we can have in terms of a Rangers player, you would dare put him in the same category as maybe a Ryan Kent, which I know people will be screaming, be like, oh no, that's all we need, another winger that couldn't hit a barn door with a shotgun. I wouldn't say it was at that level where Kent would simply just refuse to shoot on occasion, but again, that type of player who gets his real bit of joy for taking men on, trying to get things happen. When he does get kicked, he's right back up, he's trying at it again, and when it goes right and when he's on his game, he can be a real joy to watch. How joyful? Go ahead and ask the Sheffield Wednesday fans that voted this man as the player of the year last year. We're getting a very exciting talent and a very exciting prospect. Again, another one that fits the training module. Some of the signings were linked me. People saying, what the hell are we signing this? What the hell are we signing that? Well, this suits right into that training model as he is young. We're sort of stealing this one in my personal opinion, and we're adding a very talented player right now, but it's clearly got a much higher ceiling than some of the players that's in the winging position now. But again, speaking of a left winger with a right fit, that might frustrate some people, but again, he has got that flexibility playing in numerous other positions, especially the right wing. And the longer you watch today's video, you see how closely he is a right winger or a left winger, which instantly makes this transfer not only make a lot more sense regarding, I haven't even heard of this guy, who is this guy? You look at, oh, he's another left winger, blah. It starts to make a lot more sense, but it also makes sense for him as well, as he has other options. Clearly, they were wanting him to stay at the club, there was other offers elsewhere, but maybe he's narrowed in here looking at this Rangers team, seeing the good feeling, the good vibes. I know not everybody's on the Russell Martin train, but players like to play for a manager or head coach, if you want, like that. They want to be a part of that. The way he plays is a benefit to attackers, a benefit to creative players, and again, he is banging at the door at a Rangers first team at 21 years old, not only on the left side, which again he has played the majority of his career, or the most games in his career, but also on the right hand side that is just as equally as bad as the left, and everyone's forgotten goat about it. This kid right now, I think, walks very dangerously close to the front of the line on the left-hand side. I'm hoping Oscar Cortez can eventually turn it around. But in terms of the right, who we've got there now, Kieran Dowell and McCausland, yeah, the kid's got a chance. But again, I feel like that's maybe what you need to know regarding the player profile. Pacey, direct, takes men on. When it works, it looks absolutely brilliant. But what the best thing is, and one of the better things I've been able to find is, you know, I'm going to say the name, but like the likes of Rabbi Matondo. Do you know when it never went right for him? You could see it at the start of the game, even when he was having his redemption, had his about 6 games or good games in a Rangers team. If it started off well for him, he'd go on to have a game. But if he tried to take somebody on and then he would lose the ball and then he would hide for the rest of the game. Do you know what I'm talking about? The good thing is what I've been able to find is even when this guy's stats at the end of the game doesn't suggest that he'd won over 50% of his dribbling, over 80%. He had such a good... He keeps going. Even to the 70th, 80th minute, he picks the ball up, drives, pick the balls up and drives, and that's all it takes, ladies and gentlemen, right? You can fail 9 times out the wing, but if you just get it right once and put the ball in the mixer or win a penalty or win a free kick or pass it to someone who slides in somebody else, you've done your job perfectly as a winger. And again, that's pretty much what his entire season was last year, doing the job by a winger despite being 21 years old and playing in one of the most competitive leagues in terms of world football, in my personal opinion. I know it's no the Prem and it's no this or no that, but about 27 teams can win that every single year. They're all scrapping. There's so much at stake in terms of the money, and it is a very, very punishing and competitive league. We've seen some of our youngsters that we've talked about signing for his club, not really kicking into gear and playing really well in there, not really getting the opportunity, getting relegated elsewhere. Well, he was a player that actually played really well, and again, some of these awards, especially from the fans, certainly go ahead and back all that up. But that actually gives us the perfect transition into the old numbers and stats, so we can start backing up some of the things we just went ahead and talked about in terms of the player profile. And again, looking in to last season for Sheffield Wednesday, where he was voted by the fans as the player of the year, he played a total of 47 games in all competitions at 21, which again is already impressive. You know what I mean? I'm a fan. He's available and reliable to be picked, especially as a winger, because pretty much everybody we sign in the winging position is sitting there on the bench and getting scalps on the jacksies because they're never fit enough to play once or twice a freaking month. So the fact that the kid can play every single week is very, very impressive, especially in the type of competitive league that is. But more on that a wee bit later. In the 47 games that he did go ahead and play for Sheffield Wednesday, he bagged in 8 goals, which again isn't the greatest stats, but it also isn't the worst stats. The one that really jumped out to me and really, really surprised me and had me really diving in deeper and going, how is that possible? With everything I'm reading in the match reports and everything I'm seeing, how on earth has this man just played 47 games and he only has 1 assist to his name? Because that's not what you want to see for the winging position. But again, it's another clear example that stats aren't everything, because you dive in to these games and you see the expected assists and all this malarkey he's creating. He's winning free kicks that ends up resulting in goals, but that doesn't count him. He's winning set pieces, he's driving the ball, winning a corner kick that's then headed in by the big centre half, but he doesn't get anything for that. That 50-yard run he done with the ball to win, that isn't there, and it just gets lost in all the spreadsheets and lost in all the wee pretty percentages. But again, if you take a step back and see what's actually said about him in terms of these games, again, a lot of it is a hell of a positive. So it might just be a case that he was just a wee bit unlucky in terms of the players that he did set up, and some of the things doesn't go ahead and get classed as assists. But he is a menace. You didn't get voted by the fans as your player of the year if you aren't an impactful good player at your football club. So I shout out to him as well. Last season was certainly his best season in terms of his career. But it does feel pretty harsh to say that he's a 21-year-old. But again, at the same time as we as Rangers fans have been scarred by signing players, maybe for England, maybe you're still completely out there, but you see people on the decline, or maybe their career stalled, or maybe you're needing a wee fix-it job under Michael Beale. Remember, we can fix him. That was his whole mantra. We are quite scared of that. But again, I can ease a lot of those fears, because he isn't a guy who's just had one good year. He's not a guy that is stalling or is declining. He is a 21-year-old kid that's playing week in and week out, and every season he is progressing, and if he progresses from what he was last season, next season when wearing a Rangers shirt, we have a very, very tidy player on our hands, and a massive upgrade in what we've seen in terms of the winging position. Not Czerny level numbers, I'm talking about everybody else in that building. And you know what I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be the answer to all our players, because I think he's going to be one of a couple wingers brought in very shortly in there, but in terms of a tandem and strengthening a position, just like some of the centre backs we've spoken about, that is greatly improving the wide position, and you're bringing in quality that can impact now. But again, he's a 21-year-old that's getting better every year. That's a team planning for the future and maybe covering the value, bringing in an experienced player or bringing in this guy that's not got much value here. You balance it out at the end of the day. You bring in experience, you bring in youth, and you try to find the right balance that can hopefully bring you success. And the kid's look very good so far in his career, as the previous year he played 37 games in all competitions, in which he finished with 4 goals and he had 3 assists to his name. Again, improvement each year. 4 goals 2 years ago, 8 goals this. If he goes up by another 4, I'll take 12 goals for him, but building up in the right way. And again, most of it is all positive. But again, taking a step back and looking at his entire football CV, despite only being 21 years old, that does feel very, very odd to go ahead and say that. But again, what's so impressive to me is how many games this kid's played. Right, he is 21 years old, and when you take away all the youth football and all the stuff that he has got nice stats in, if you just look at top flight professional matches versus players that's made it and are actual football players, he at the age of 21 has 104 games under his belt. We've got 21-year-old, 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds out of our football club for our academy coming out and getting 6 minutes at the end of the season, getting trotted on like that. You know what I mean? This is a kid that's been playing week in and week out for years, and with over 100 games at the top flight under his belt. Again, game time and development and giving youngsters the option to grow and time to grow certainly can make exciting players, and it's another clear example of it. Again, most of that is in the Championship, but he's obviously had 1 game in the top flight of French football, and he's obviously played in Belgian football. That's where he was before he went ahead and joined Sheffield Wednesday. So he's certainly got a lot of experience despite being 21, and you could genuinely look at our team and look at the names and look at the ages, say even our youth players now who are 22, 23, this kid's nearly got 100 games on every single one of them, despite being several years younger. But to finish up the old numbers and stats properly, as I did get a wee bit excited there, he has also got 14 goals to his name during that run, which again isn't the greatest stats, but also isn't the worst when you consider where and how often he's been playing and how he does get moved from left to right despite being a young laddie. And he has picked up 5 assists while picking up 9 yellow cards. And the yellow cards is very interesting to me, right, because as you can see the progression, he's picking up more and more yellow cards as he's getting asked to do more and more things, and he's not one of these wingers that just sit up there and does a wee run and then it's half-arsed back and it's I'll just save my energy. He's one of the guys that knew is switched on, and if somebody is counter-attacking, it's pulling the shirt back, or it's putting a bit of graft in, and it's why you can almost picture him playing in a Russell Martin team again, because he will get loads of the ball, he'll get loads of the touches, what he'll love, but again, he is that type of player that managers trust now, as he does buy into maybe the uglier side of the game. Again, I'm not saying he's going to play like a fullback and get back every single time, but if you've been frustrated looking at that winger position, has seen laziness out there and half-arsed attitudes, again, you shouldn't see it in this young lad down either wing, if I'm honest. But aye, that kind of leads us towards the end of today's video. Again, it says it's not going to take us much time, but in terms of competition for places, which again could look vastly different by the time we cut 2 weeks, 3 weeks in to the future, but right now when you look at it both left and right, after the season he's just had and the consistency he showed despite being 21, when he gets up to like speed with the way Martin wants to play and everything like that, this is a guy that I could genuinely see starting on the left for us, but also starting out in the right, as only 3 games last season separates from the left to the right. That's how much he was used, that's how much he was mix and match, that's how much unpredictability and how he can play in different positions at the age of 21 as he played on the right a lot of the season, but again, just pipping that was down on the left hand side. And again, as I said earlier on today's video, that'll be maybe one of the many reasons he's looked at Rangers and went, yeah, I fancy that, because there's 2 options, 2 doors I can walk through, and I imagine he'll fancy himself against either. walking through either frickin' one when you look at who's there right now. Again, I'm expecting that to change, and I'm expecting more bodies to be added in that position. But right now, yeah, competition for places, 21-year-old or no, I think he's in there. And I imagine right now in terms of the right, he is our starter. But I do expect that to change and get a wee bit more difficult over the next week or two. But that's me, done and dusted. That's me, had my say now. You have to let me know down in the comment section below. Are you happy? Are you mad? Are you sad? Are you glad? You've been moaning about defenders always getting signed. You've been wanting more creativity. We brought that in terms of Asgard. Now we're starting to turn our attention into some speed and pace and adding and needing that in our team. Let me know how you're feeling. Are you excited about this one? And before we wrap up today's video, as always, shout out to the channel members that's went ahead and signed up to the channel membership. We greatly appreciate you, whether you're at the channel membership, like again on the screen, or the ones that has signed up to the support range. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, as is each and every single one of you who takes time out their day to sit and listen to this guy talk about football. Again, I know I say it quite a lot, but it's never lost on me that you guys are the thing that make this happen. And look, I love doing this, love talking to you, I love getting excited talking about these players, I love having fun. So let me know your opinions down there in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video, which you just never know when it'll be. But until then, I've been Season 92. Thank you so much for watching, all the best, and bye bye.